Welcome back to the Art of MMA. I'm your host, Jamal Thompson, and I am with,
Roger.
yes, sir. And numbered cards are back. UFC
Yes,
326.
sir.
We have the BMF title on the line. Holloway versus Oliveira, part
Mm-hmm.
two. Now, the first time these guys fight, I was 2 years removed from high school. I wasn't really in the MMA game yet, necessarily. Wasn't watching too much of the sport. Um, was just getting stuff off the ground in life. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, actually, I was just, early early stages of my career. Now I'm a dad, and
Yeah.
and years into the game, and a pretty big fight fan, and they're running it back. Which means if that much changed for me in those years, I feel like quite a bit has changed for Charles and Max from 2015
Yes.
to 2026. What's his you, Mr. Roger? I'm sure in 2015 you had a lot less going on
Oh.
in life.
I don't think so. I had all my kids at that point.
Okay,
So
okay,
I have
all of them
all of them by
means
2015. And they were much smaller, much younger. Um, you know, uh much less money around, you know. So but I was not back into watching fighting at that point. I had been into it um, when I saw the WEC in probably 2010, 2011, 2012, somewhere in that range.
Mhm.
And, I'd watch it a little bit. And actually, you know what? I think that was the time I was getting back into it because that was close to the time when Anderson Silva and Chael Sonnen were doing their thing. I
Mhm.
heard like one of the things that had me wanting to watch it. I always liked Aldo from his WEC days. So when he went to the UFC, I kind of followed that a little. But I had a friend who wanted to go out and watch the fight at a bar, and we went out and watched Anderson Chael 2. But I remember Chael on Rome's show when he was just like Rome's playing clips of him, and Chael's like, "Yeah, that wasn't me. I don't know who you're playing clips of, but that wasn't me." And it was hilarious. And I was like, "This guy's out of his mind." And so when it came time for the second one, because I did see how the first one ended, because that interview made me want to find out what happened. And
Yeah.
anyway, to find out he lost 4.5 rounds into it. Then I went and saw it, and then after that, I just kept watching it because
You're back.
Brock Lesnar's over there. I saw the Frankie Edgar Gray Maynard fight that was a instant classic. So yeah, that's probably about the time I was getting back into it. But I can't say like I knew who Holloway was, but I can't say I like watched the fight or anything like that. So,
Yeah, Charles wasn't Charles yet.
mm-mm.
Charles Du Bronx was not the guy,
Yeah,
Um, your fight, I feel like he kind of falls into your favorite fighter,
yeah,
not because of fight style, but because he's just such a good dude. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Every clip I've seen, the lead up to the Islam fight, Islam's like, I hope that this guy could, if he wants help after this, he could join our camp. He could come up to Dagestan. Top said, you know, he tried so hard to hate him during the fight week. He couldn't. Guys with his family, guys with his team, guys just being a good guy. Still knocked him out in the first round, so I don't know how much you were trying to be nice to him, Top. But he was so excited to say good things about him. Every fighter talks very well of Charles and what he is as a man in the sport, which is very very cool to see. Um, and Max has done good things too. He hasn't really ruffled many feathers. Um, Bounced back since that Ilya Tapuria fight, kind of getting a lot of that gusto back of what people expect when Max goes into a fight. It was just interesting to see this one made, and what the repercussions of this fight could be. Because as we know in this new UFC era, in the Paramount era especially, it only takes one good moment to kind of shift perspectives and
mm-hmm.
and put people in a position where you didn't think they were before, right?
Yeah,
We're talking Justin Gaethje, Ilya to fight for the belt potentially. There's been nothing concrete about that. Charles or Max comes out and has a moment in this one, and Ilya decides he wants the BMF belt. Things could really shift. So,
yeah. It could.
um, very important numbered card here. But to open up the card, we have two fighters who I feel like are on a similar trajectory, somewhat. Um, Rodolfo Bellato versus Luke Fernandez. Now, Luke Fernandez is starting his UFC career more or less.
Mm-hmm.
6-0. Just had a win on Dana White's Contender Series, first round knockout. Pretty quick one at that. And they're giving him Rodolfo Bellato, which huge human being. Fights light heavyweight. Comfortably looks like a heavyweight by the time he gets in there.
Mm-hmm.
But he's had an interesting run of fights. You look at his last 4 fights. This man has won a fight via stoppage, drawn a fight, had a no contest, and a unanimous decision.
Mm-hmm.
He's gone through it. The only thing missing from his last few fights is a sub. He's gone through and given you every variety of fight and how you could win or / lose them or / draw them.
Yeah.
Then they can remember. In terms of us covering the sport together, I don't remember if we talked about the Jimmy Crute fight. I don't think we were there yet, but we definitely talked about Paul Craig. And I remember, pre-video days, me leaning into the Paul Craig potentially getting him out of there by sub, or just getting him out of there in general. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think it was an illegal upkick. I also don't think it connected very well. Rodolfo played into it. He sold it. Ended up being a no contest. But I thought Paul Craig had that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't remember particularly on whether or not that was an upkick, because his knee was supposedly on the ground, right?
Allegedly, yeah.
Okay.
But it looked like it was hovering a little bit off the ground.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all. Now, I'm of the mindset that's a little different. That's like, this is fighting, right? What do you mean you can't hit him with a kick while he's on the ground?
Roger, we know your stance is, if you're in there to die. I get it. You came on here a couple weeks ago and said they should be able to grab the cage and propel themselves off of it.
They should 100% be able to do that.
You are on another level with this.
Listen, when you talk about ground game, how many fights would not have gone to the ground if you could soccer kick somebody in the head?
It'd go somewhere else, potentially. If you could soccer kick somebody in the head, it probably wouldn't go to the ground.
That's what I'm saying.
It'd probably go to the morgue, potentially.
I mean, yes, you can do plenty of damage.
Soccer kick in the head is crazy.
I mean, they've done it before. You could watch some of the old MMA, and they were soccer kicking people in the head. Look,
they used to play football with little leather helmets. Imagine if they did that now. What are we talking about? They did it before.
I'm saying,
I hear you, man.
I don't think an up kick from the ground should be an illegal move to begin with, but it is. And if, we had that Brunez fight, and this is a little off topic, but we had that Brunez fight last week that was pretty controversial. He's riding the guy like a backpack, but 3 times he puts his hand on top of the cage to steady himself.
Yes.
No time did he lose position. No time did the referee
stop him,
threaten a point.
Well, he did say stop, but he didn't.
He told him to stop, but he didn't threaten a point. The guy did it 3 times. He should have lost the position if you're going for a sport. So why do we pick one rule over another to really give these points to? I do understand some are more egregious, but if you take him off of the position, does he really? He doesn't wear Chirez's legs down near as long.
That's true.
It's a totally different fight. So I don't know. I don't remember if it was a kick or not.
I just remember the acting was top tier.
The acting was top tier.
He went, whoa.
Sometimes they do that, and I love it when the crowd reacts and they're like, "No, boo, get back in there."
Everybody watched on X and was like, "Is he faking it?" Like, that's the first time I saw in the little comment section at the bottom, like, did Bellato just fake getting knocked out by an up kick? Because he tried. He did the eyes wide open. He's like, oh, like he got struck by lightning, and it didn't make any sense how he was reacting as somebody who was quote unquote knocked out. Anyway,
yeah, I don't.
He comes back in after that.
Remember it.
and gets a unanimous decision loss. So they gift him a guy who they're expecting to go in there and throw some heavy punches. They're trying to build up that guy who comes off the Dana White Contender Series. I think they were very
Mhm.
turned off by the I don't want to keep calling it fake, but I think it was fake reaction to the upkick and the recent unanimous decision loss. Um, I think they're trying to give Fernandez a moment. I don't know how to go with this one. I'm not gonna call it like you were calling it in Mexico City, where all these Dana White Contender Series guys were gonna lose early because they were young. And then we saw it flipped on its head pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But I do think Bellotto is not terrible. Um, and I haven't seen enough of Fernandez to put like a stamp of approval. But if you're asking me to pick this fight, I am gonna pick Fernandez, and I'm gonna pick Fernandez by finish, and I'm gonna pick Fernandez by finish in the first round. What says you?
Well, I can say with Bellato, I just looked it up. His knee was squarely on the ground. Whether he faked it, I don't know, but
You
I still
can't
don't.
be let him die, and then go back and check to see if his knee
Well,
on
no,
the ground.
I'm saying I just looked to it and I said his knee
You're
was
right. Yes,
squarely on the ground.
his knee
I
was on
think
the
that
ground. Then
means Paul
okay,
Craig wins the fight because one man can't continue, and it was due to his scrappiness as
his
to why that
scrappiness and
is.
vigor. Yeah,
Um, but
it's due to his scrappiness.
this honestly, this is one of the most anticipated fights for me
Really?
because I want to see how good Fernandez is because he looks like he is a killer. He looks like he is going to be a problem for the light heavyweight division
Mm-hmm.
in the future. He's 30. He's actually the older person in the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Bellato's 29. I think they're both about 6'2". Um, but Fernandez has power in his hands, um, like big power in his hands, and I think that he's going to be a problem for some of these light heavyweights. So I'm interested to see if it translates to the UFC. Um, if it does, this kid can go far.
Yeah, I see
So,
Ganja put down a guy like Medina last week. Um, I think Bellotto is a bigger guy. The entry into the grapple wasn't great against Paul Craig, and Paul Craig was in there for 5 minutes against him in that first round. And I had Paul Craig winning the first round
hmm
up to that point. So,
yeah,
and Paul Craig's not necessarily like a stick and mover or a power shoot, like a power puncher, and he was getting some opportunities in there against Rodolfo. Um, I think Fernandez with his, again, prowess, his finishing prowess as well. I think if they get into a solid exchange, he could very well put Bellotto on his back, um, ground and pound, or just flatline him. So, uh, I'm buying into the hype. I am.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking him to finish the fight. On to our next one. We have Gaston Bayanos versus Jiang Young Lee. Jiang Young Lee is taking it on short notice because there was a different South Korean fighter that was supposed to be in that spot. Um, I think this one's going to be a fun one to watch, personally. Both guys love a good striking match.
hmm
Um, the short notice fighter in this one has a better record. Seems to be going in the right direction.
hmm
Boyanos is a guy who has quite a few wins, if I'm not mistaken, by TKO. Um, so prefers to be on the stand up in that one. I think he's 0-1 to the sub or 0-3 to the sub if I'm not wrong on that one. Yeah, 0-3 to the sub. And Jiang Young Lee likes to stand and bang as well, 4-1 to the
hmm
TKOs, but 3-0 to sub. So I'm not saying it's going to the ground necessarily, but there's somebody with a clear advantage once it gets there. Um, and in my analysis of fights, if a guy is very comfortable in the ground game, he seems to live in the pocket a little bit more comfortably than the other
hmm
dude and put that pressure on. And I do not think Boyanos wants to be in a situation where he ends up on the ground. So
No.
I think we're going to see a lot of front foot pressure from Jiang Young Lee. I think he's going to try to set the tone there. Um, I'm giving him the speed advantage. and then I'm giving him the advantage where if it does turn into a grappling match, it could be problems for Boyanos if he ends up on the ground. So I'm taking Zhang Young Lee to win this on short notice. What's this
On
week?
how short notice is it? Do you know? Right
I
off.
think it's about 2 weeks or 3 weeks, something like that. It's not
Okay.
like days. I think it's a couple weeks.
Yeah. Short notice always gives me a little bit of pause because you don't get to prepare.
Hmm.
Now I know I've seen fighters that seem to be in shape all the time, and they tend to
Hmm.
do okay on short notice fights. People that take a lot of time off. I don't know how Lee runs his, but I will say that I think he's probably the one that I'm going with for a favorite in this one. That he's gonna that he's gonna take this one. I think so. Um, yeah, short notice isn't enough for me to sway
To
that.
stray away from him.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. Awesome. We both got Jin Young Lee in that one. I haven't looked at the odds on Jin Young Lee. My prediction is that he's favored, but not to skip ahead of some of these. The odds have surprised me on a few already that
yeah,
I've looked into. So, um, yeah, Jung Young Lee is a -250 favorite.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think for a reason. His
yeah.
strikes are well mixed. He's gonna get the whole body. He's not a predominant puncher. We have one guy on here who I'm gonna say is gonna win, but he's a predominant like head puncher. He's not going to the body a lot. He's not going to the legs very much, but I still think
Hmm.
he's gonna win. In this one, I think Lee's just gonna overwhelm him. He's gonna throw a variety at him, and I think he's gonna probably take it mostly on the feet.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a battle. Um, I don't think he's gonna set the pressure to try to shoot or take down because I think he's
Mm-mm.
gonna have the speed advantage there
Yeah,
and be
he won't
comfortable in
have
those
to.
exchanges. Yeah, but if it goes there, he'll be very okay with that. This next one, Rafael Tobias versus Dr. Nurzgov, or Nergoze, my bad.
Hmm.
Kazakhstani versus Brazilian. Um, Rafael Tobias, this is his intro pretty much to the UFC.
Yep.
14-1 going against Dyer, who outside of the Contender Series knockout, where he landed like a head kick, he's lost two of his last matches to submissions. Got
Hmm.
subbed in both. Now, the odds are fairly close on this one. -200 to Rafael Tobias. Dyer Gaze is the underdog. I don't think that is a bad shout. However, are you putting stock more in the fact that Dyer's been in there twice in UFC fights over Rafael's prospects, or do you think Rafael with his many sub wins and KO TKO wins is gonna kind of come in and rain on Dyer's parade in this one?
Well, it doesn't matter how I feel about it. I learned my lesson last week. The people who have lost a couple fights in the UFC are probably going to lose to these contender guys too. Um,
Mm,
that's what history has shown me, even though I'm confining history to 1 week.
yeah.
Um, you know, that was the story of last week's card was just guys who haven't won in the UFC against contender series guys, even though, uh, Nur, how do you say his name? We'll go with
Nergaze?
Dyer.
Oh, yeah, Dyer, yeah.
Yeah,
We could go
we'll
Dyer.
go with Dyer. Um, even though he's a contender guy too.
Hmm.
So, but
Just hasn't had much luck since being in there.
yeah, I'm gonna go with the guy that's 14-1 coming in here on a tear, and I'm gonna go with him to win. I think we, you know, I didn't see his contender fight, Dyer's contender fight, but if you tell me that he got a head kick on him,
Hmm.
I mean, sometimes those are lucky shots and sometimes those are precision shots. And I don't know with him being that he's lost two in here, I'm gonna go with Tobias.
I do want to throw out that Tobias did win his contender series win by sub, but at 22, he has a pretty good significant strike output,
Hmm.
and I could see Nergaze getting into an exchange And again, you know you're going in against somebody who's comfortable in the grappling game, just like the Jung Young Lee conversation we had. And that could lead to Tobias having openings in the striking game,
Hmm.
right? Like if Tobias, quote unquote, gives any feints to the lower half of Dyer's body, he might react. I can see him opening up opportunities
Yeah.
to land up top, to land in the ribs, to land in the body by just motioning in any way to taking this to the ground. Again, a guy who's lost 2 fights to sub is going to be hyper aware of going on the mat.
Hmm.
And that could definitely change the style of fight that he goes in there against Dyer. He can neutralize somebody who is usually good in those exchanges um, by just the fear of getting on the
Hmm.
mat against a guy who's more competent there. So
Yeah.
the more I think about it, I think, I did give out Quinones by decision last week. I'm not gonna take that back. I think that was sharp. I'm gonna give you guys Rafael Tobias by first round finish in this
First
one.
round finish.
I think
Okay.
the 22-year-old is gonna come in and set a blazing pace. Either force him against the cage or put him in a position where they end up in somewhat of a grappling exchange, and when they get separated, there'll be a feint or some variety of "I'm going to try to get you to the ground again," and he might catch him with something, and then that's
Okay.
going to be either jump on and continue or all she wrote. So
Yeah.
excited to see that fight as well. There's some early fights that I see ending potentially early. Based on my situation, I might have to go back and watch them, but I'm okay with that. So this next one, the odds kind of surprised me, and I know we had a little bit of a discussion about it before we got on.
Hmm.
But Sumu Derji versus Jesus Aguilar. Jesus Aguilar, 12-3, bit of a grappler. Sumu Derji, 18-7, and loves to throw them hands, man, and
Yes.
kicks. He loves a good kick. Loves a good spinning back heel
Yeah.
kick. I watched him throw back-to-back spinning back heel kicks, not really connecting to put anybody out, but just showing you, look, I could do it once. You want to see it again? I'm gonna do it again. Sumidaji is a pretty considerable favorite in this one against Jesus, and I'm a little bit confused as to why. You seem to have a lot of faith in his striking ability going against a guy like Jesus, who, we I watched a knockout from Jesus Aguilar against competent competition that is not replicatable, unfortunately, in my opinion. Um, you could go check out that Aguilar knockout. I think it was against Ross a couple years back, and tell me if
Hmm.
you think that's something that we should implement as a game plan every time we go in there.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, why are you on the Sumiderji side? It seems like for this one.
Just his striking is so good. It's accurate. This is the fight I was saying. This guy goes mostly to the head when he's
Mm-hmm.
striking. I still think his striking is superb. I think um, he's a 52 percent striking accuracy. Um, you know, he's throwing 60% of his shots, or 80%, 60% of his shots to the head.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's going to get some leg kicks in there. There are going to be some body shots, but predominantly this is going to be headshot. Um, and I think that he's going to be able to. He's also got very good defensive wrestling, which is
Okay.
why I'm seeing that with his striking plus that defensive wrestling, I think that adds up to a win against Aguilar. I don't think Aguilar is going to be able to dominate him and take him down and keep him down often enough to counteract that striking. So, um, from that perspective, I'm going with him.
The one thing I'm looking at is the level of competition.
Hmm.
We don't want to fall in love with doing that either, but it in my experience, I think the competition that Sumaderj has been in there with,
Hmm.
Sumaderji has been in there with, has been a little bit better.
Yeah.
Um, and he's had decent performances against those. Um, Jesus, when he's come up against some decent competition, has lost. I think the best one I saw on his resume is Tetsuro Taira. Uh, and he lost by sub to Tetsuro. So, um, I don't know. I lean with the value in this one. I could see Jesus Aguilar getting into a battle with Sumaderji. Um, I could see Sumu, overexerting himself going for headshots, and people could, if you're not putting anybody out with these headshots, the body could sustain a lot of
Yeah.
headshots over some time, right?
Mhm.
If you're not flooding the basement, as the guys say, right,
Yeah.
to kind of weaken your opponent, you could get into those exchanges and survive long enough to potentially, pull a rabbit out of a hat necessarily. I think Sumadeji has the athletic advantage in terms of
Mhm.
how he'll control the ring. I do like the precision striking. Um, I just know that if they get into an exchange, what Sumadeji has shown me is that the ground, I don't want to say it's like Wang Kong, but it's a dangerous game. Once you get him on the ground, it seems to be a quick wrap after
Right.
that.
The thing that makes me
Um,
unconcerned about that is just his wrestling defense.
okay.
He's good to stay on his feet, and even when he goes down to say one knee because they start to get him, and
Mhm.
he's got a sprawl. He's usually quick to get that overhook to get that whizzer in there and just stay up, and then he gets it back. Breaks away and gets to his feet. That's what kind of makes me unconcerned about his that part of his game.
Well, he hasn't been subbed since 2023 also, so there's been 3 years since he suffered a submission loss.
Yeah.
Um, so maybe there's been a lot of growth, like you said, in there in terms of defensive wrestling technique. So
Hmm.
I don't know. I'm not gonna ride with Jesus Aguilar. I will say, if you're gonna take Jesus Aguilar, his path to victory is by sub. There's no other way. He's not gonna land a looping overhand right against Sumaderji. Because the time it takes to land something like that, Sumadeji might have landed 2 spinning
Hmm.
back heel kicks in the spin in the time that it takes to throw that punch. Unanimous decision unless it's control time. Um, I don't see Aguilar winning in that fashion either. It literally is gonna have to be get his back, you know, maybe get dropped, get his heel.
Hmm.
Um, one of those types of situations, and it has to end by sub for Jesus to win this fight. On the flip side, Sumadeji does have a unanimous decision pathway to victory. He does
Yeah.
have a knockout path to victory as well. I could see him being, again, with the speed advantage, landing something pretty spectacular in there because he is
Hmm.
precise when throwing those kicks. They're not just flying everywhere and
Yeah.
potentially landing. He puts them on target. You're gonna have to keep that hand up by your head or by your ribs or wherever he decides to try to put that kick on you. And it could end up being a very, very long night or painful exchange for Jesus Aguilar. So
Hmm.
um, I do think the odds are still a little bit wide, but at 13-0 versus the TKO for Sumadeji, I'm taking that to be his path of victory, a
All right.
stoppage, uh, via damage or via TKO, for Sumadeji against Jesus Aguilar. Cody Durden is going against the artist of KO, Naim Jirgal Tumen Dembarel. Genghis Khan would not be mad at me, right? We got the Cody Durden isn't a new name. He's been around a little bit. And he's going against the Mongolian flyweight. Flyweight has some flyweight has some talent in there, man. For
Yeah.
a division that they were trying to get rid of for a while. Flyweight's got some fun talent appearing recently. We have a 34-year-old guy who has a propensity to get into firefights. He's
Hmm.
6-5 against the sub, 6-2 against TKO, and has been in there with some killers. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Durden's fought some good guys. Uh, One of the bigger names most recently, Joshua Van, obviously, right? But he's on a 3-fight skid, 1-5 in his last 1-4 in his last 5. They give him Tumen Dembarel, the Mongolian artist of KO. And Tumen Dembarel, even though he carries that moniker, at 9-1, has 6 subs and 2 KOs. So I don't know if the
Hmm.
name is to trick you and pull you in,
Yeah.
um, but he's
It's not a
pretty
bad
comfortable on the feet. He's pretty comfortable
mhm.
on the mat, I should say. What you say? Not a bad strategy to kind of throw out artists of KO
Yeah,
and then just
yeah,
squeeze you.
and then you take them down. Yep,
Yeah,
because they can't soccer kick you. What are they gonna do?
you need to start your own promotions. What it sounds like,
I don't
but
know
I don't
about
think
that.
anybody will insure you when you tell them the rules you allow for your promotion. Um, but yeah, Dembrell,
No, that I wouldn't be able to get insurance.
no, you would not. You would not get any insurance. Dembrell had a UFC fight night loss by split decision and a road to UFC win, which I haven't even been locked in on the road to UFC stuff, so guess I'm behind there. But Darden's a pretty big comp to give him early. And Tumen Dembrell, though favored, um Tumen Dembrell hasn't fought anybody like Joshua Van.
No.
So I have a little bit of reason to pause. Like, how confident do you feel in Tumen Dembrell against Cody Durden?
Well, he hasn't won a fight in the UFC yet. So I know Cody Durden has not won a lot, especially recently, but the other guy hadn't won at all.
Exactly.
So he, I'm be honest with you though, he's an exciting fighter to watch.
Yeah.
He's always, he's always gone, but that doesn't exciting doesn't necessarily translate into wins. There's a lot of exciting fighters that lose. Um, you know, um, I want to see the fight. It's hard to really pick a winner in this. If I have to, give me the new guy from Mongolia.
Yeah. It's I
Um, his fight was a split decision, the one that he had, and he lost.
mm.
Durden hasn't won in a long time, but again, his competition has been a lot higher. You know,
We always it
Ochoa,
see
Van,
that's like a swinging pendulum, right? Because we always
yeah,
go, you don't want to go based on who they fought previously, and then you have Strickland versus Hernandez happen, and you're like, of course,
yeah,
right? Like, obviously Strickland has been fighting killers for the last 2 years, and we love Anthony Hernandez, and it's a little bit of revisionist history, but he hasn't had the same resume of people who he's fought over the last, however many years as Strickland did. We saw those levels, right?
okay,
Obviously, that's on the highest level. You're talking about competing for a belt level. These guys are a little bit further down the food chain. But Durden has fought the champ recently, lost to the champ, but fought the champ. Ochoa is better than anybody that's on Tumen Dembrill's resume right now. Like, but he's not winning these fights. So it does put me in a sticky situation in terms of who to pick. I think Tumen Dembrell is an exciting fighter, like you said. I'm okay riding with Tumen Dembrell to win the fight. Um, I don't know how spectacular fashion, but I'm riding with him to win the fight for sure in this one. Um, I don't know if I'll necessarily say stoppage, but I think he wins, and I think he gets his first big UFC
okay,
win. Um, and then we can see what the future holds for Tumen Dembrell. Future will not hold much for Durden if he
yeah.
loses in like unanimous decision fashion or in TK or anything. But um, yeah, I could see it
Did
being.
you know that Durden has a win over Johnson? He's got a unanimous decision win over Charles Johnson from 2023.
It's important. Charles Johnson. You know how I feel about Charles Johnson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but see,
That
Charles
is,
Johnson didn't beat him. He beat Charles Johnson, so his career is on the downswing.
yeah,
If
it's the
Charles Johnson
reverse.
beats you, your career is on the upswing.
You don't want to win against Charles Johnson.
That's right. You got to lose to him.
You got to lose to him. It's the sacrifice you got to
Hmm.
give, and
Yeah.
then your future is bright.
I mean, for that
Because
reason, he beat Charles Johnson. He's going to lose to
yeah, he's gonna
Tumen
lose to
Dembro.
Tumen Dembrell. Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
Probably spectacularly too. Yeah, I might be switching my pick to Tumen Dembrell by finish. Um, Oh gosh, Ricky Tercios, man. Featherweight Ricky Tercios is going against Alberto Montez. This looks like it is a Montez debut. We love
Hmm.
a debutante.
Yep.
Um, submission specialist, 6-0 to the sub against
Hmm.
Tercios, who I'd say is a pretty fun fighter.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but he's not he's not immune to getting submitted. Most recently submitted against Chiwiwis, Raul Rosas, who's also on this card, right?
Yeah.
I see what we're setting up for here. I do. I can see the future. I know what the UFC
What's the
wants.
future?
They want a Montez win. They do. I don't know if they get that though. I am going to lean with Ricky Tercios avoiding the ground game, avoiding the grappling exchanges, trying to stay on the feet, trying to stay out the way, landing pitter patter shots. Um, Hopefully, in his case, getting the better of the exchanges, and Ricky Tercios winning this by decision.
Okay.
I think he's going to try to work the mat, and again, not put himself in a position to get squeezed. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that's going to be his aim, is to kind of just hover around there, get out of danger, and try to win by decision, because you don't want to, So, I think Ricky Tercios at plus 155 is not bad money. Are you on the Montez side on this one? Alberto Montez? Are you a Montez believer, or do you think that Tercios could pull it out in this one? Hi.
All right. Hold on. I might be here. Are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. It cut out for a second.
All good.
I heard Tercios, was it
I'm taking
unanimous decision?
Tercios to win. I don't think I said unanimous, but Tercios to
Okay.
win for sure. Um, I think he's gonna play a smart game against
Okay.
Montez. What is your pick, sir?
My pick on this one,
Yeah.
I want to go with Alberto Montez. I think he's going to be good. I really, really like Ricky Tercios. And the thing about Montez that gives me pause, um, his output, um, I don't think is as high as Ricky Tercios. So he's going to have to do it more with power
Mm-hmm.
than I think he's going to be able to do it with speed. Um, I'm going to pick Montez in this one. I'm going to pick the new guy to come in there and get it done. Um, I think his grappling and his power in there is going to get it done. I saw him take a few front headlocks and turn them into anacondas and um,
Mm-hmm.
for submission wins, and I kind of feel like he's going to be able to do that to Tercios. I think Tercios is scrappy. I think he's pretty clever. He's got a lot of dog in him. But once you're locked up, it's hard to get out. And I have a feeling that Alberto Montez is going to be able to lock him up. So I'm going to take Montez by decision win.
Okay. This should be a fun one. They have this one being pretty close on the books as well. Um, I think the gap on the books is right for this one. It's plus 155, and then I think it's minus 190 for Montez. So they see this being competitive, which I do agree.
Yeah.
Um, I could get down with it going either way, but I'm gonna ride with the underdog for this one. Tercios gets right, and
Okay.
we keep it pushing. Dante Johnson versus Cody Brundage. I'm not gonna spend much time on this one. Um, Dante Johnson is 7-0. Dante
Yeah,
Johnson looks pretty dangerous.
he
Cody
does.
Brundage, if you look at his list of people they keep putting him against, there is a theme. There is a theme, ladies and gentlemen. Cody Brandage's last few opponents that we've seen him going against. Rouston. Well, McConico's not really, but um Abdul Malik.
Mm-hmm.
Uh I don't know much about Julio Marquez. Bo Nickel, Zachary Reese back in 2023. Um you could say Senric Damas back in 2023, right?
Mm-hmm.
Michelle Olajeszek, even Trayshawn Gore back in 2022. What do these guys have in common? What do these guys have in common? Granted, they're all in different parts of their career currently,
Mm-hmm.
but at the time of fight, they were either entering the UFC or had made one or two splash moves. And then the UFC's like, we need to bolster their portfolio even more. Let's give them somebody to try to make a moment against.
Yep.
Cedric Dumas, very lengthy.
Mm-hmm.
On the regional scene, some crazy knockouts. We know we're pretty close to his regional scene.
Yeah.
We understand what he did in island fights, especially, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's give Cedric Dumas somebody who could potentially have a moment against. Dumas wins the fight, but not necessarily what they were looking for potentially. Trayshawn Gore, Dana White Contender Series, if I'm not mistaken, or was it fight? No, it was the other
No,
one.
he was on the Tough
He
One.
was on the he was on the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Don't get him on the ground, but the hands very powerful, and he had some good moments on that show.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to build him up off of that, right? Bo Nickel, we know what they wanted out of Bo Nickel,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the theme continues. Give Cody Brundage a guy that we're trying to make something. The
Yeah.
UFC. He's evaded a lot of bad situations
Yeah.
in these matchups.
Yeah.
He has. He's come out and he's performed and not given the UFC, I think, what they were looking for.
Yeah. Yeah.
His luck is run out. I think this guy is gonna get what they're hoping to get out of this matchup.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's gonna get in there, and I think he's gonna get Cody Brundage out of there. And I don't think it's gonna be a long fight. I think it's gonna be a KO, in under 2 rounds. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think he's gonna take him out of there.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm inclined to agree with you. Cody Brown just has, decent wrestling. He's not
Yeah.
Bo Nickel, but he's got decent wrestling. If he does get caught, it's a possibility he goes to that to try to save the fight, and I could see this
Mhm.
lasting to decision. But I'm short and sweet. Dante Johnson. Um, he's done all the right things so far. He's still, a little bit further down on the fight card. Not quite a main eventer yet, but he is making waves and he's making his way up there. And I do believe he gets this done. Um, I'm inclined to agree that it is a stoppage, probably first or second round. The caveat here is I could see Brundage taking it all the way. I still think he would lose though. I still think he loses. So a good draw for Dante Johnson, not a great draw for Cody Brundage.
Okay, you're back. But just
Yes.
I lost you when you said inclined.
Oh, yeah, I'm inclined to go with you and say first, first or second round stoppage. Um, Cody Brundage, his wrestling could extend that fight to a unanimous decision. I still go with Dante Johnson in that to win it. I think Dante Johnson's career is going in the right direction. Um, he's made the right move so far, and I don't see this being any different. I think it's a good draw for him, not so much for Brundage. So,
Yeah, unfortunately for Brundage, yeah.
yeah.
I think the again the sand in the low timer is has run out,
Hmm.
and the Hard Rock guys have Dante Johnson at
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
you
I
know
don't
the
like.
odds are that crazy. And Roger said, "Yeah, then we might be onto something." Because he's usually on the side of those odds are too wide. But yeah, no, Dante Johnson's just shown me a lot. I think, especially from the athletic profile standpoint, that he'll be able to be a little bit too much for Cody Brundage. Um, this next one, I have pondered this next one ever since we talked to each other about it recently. Long Zhao,
Mhm.
Zhao Long versus Cody Garbrandt. Made him fancy. Cody Garbrandt.
Yeah.
Cody Garbrandt. I think Cody still has a decent bit of speed in there and a decent bit of will in there, and he'll still have those exchanges, and he'll still be in there to battle a little bit. Zhao Long, based on what I've seen, is a bit of a brawler. He'll get in there and throw punches with you. Um, I'm not gonna say he's inaccurate, but he doesn't leave himself unavailable to be hit. I think this is a great matchup for both guys. I think it's very rare you run into a situation
Yeah.
where when you look at the matchmaking, it's a good fit for both fighters. Which is why the odds are almost razor thin on this one. I won't say razor thin, but it's pretty close. I think Cody is plus 120. Zhao Long is
Mhm.
favored. Mhm. I have not seen Zhao Long's chin necessarily tested in what I've watched.
Right.
Um, Unfortunately, I have watched a bunch of fights live or not live of Cody Garbrandt's chin being tested, and
Yeah.
Cody's chin is not a good test taker. I'll tell you that. Um, Unfortunately, I feel like we're past the point of Cody's career of being back on like an ascension. I feel like Cody's career, for better or worse, has plateaued a little bit.
Mhm.
Uh, Reviving it isn't necessarily, I think, in the cards.
Yeah.
Recently, I heard him getting very excited to do a RAF
Yeah.
match, saying he wants to
Mhm.
take on Sean in an RAF match, Sean O'Malley. Um, I'm not saying you can't do multiple things,
Yeah.
right? I did come on here and judge Phil Rowe for wanting to play wrestling basketball and signing that
Yeah.
contract and having his focus on that. The RAF seems to be something that's taken off, and could be a good
It
avenue
is.
for these guys. Good avenue
Yeah.
for American wrestling, especially.
Mhm.
Um, but Cody Garbrandt wasn't talking like a guy who's excited to getting there against Zhao Long. He seems to have his mind on other things. And for that reason, I'm going with Zhao Long to win this fight. Now durability wise, Cody has had some decision matchups recently.
Mhm.
He's not an automatic to get knocked out. I'm gonna stay away from those props, even though it's very enticing to take Cody
Yeah.
to get dropped. Trust me, you've seen it happen over and over again. It's not impossible, and the odds are sweet enough.
Yeah.
But if I'm gonna go safe, which is not really safe in this matchup, but is a little bit of a coin flip because just as quickly as Cody will hit the mat, he'll pull a rabbit out of a hat because he is
Mhm.
still quick. He is
Yeah.
still a pretty precise striker when he gets opportunity in these brawls, and he could very well drop Zhao too. Um, I'm gonna ride with Zhao on this one to win this fight.
Okay. I'm gonna go the opposite. I'm gonna go with no love to come out here and win. Now, I'm gonna give you and submit and acquiesce that we kind of have to overlook Cody Garbrandt's chin to do this. Because if Xiao Long lands, Cody Garbrandt could be going down for the night. I understand that. I have not seen enough from Xiao Long to make me
Mm-hmm.
think that all his skills top Cody Garbrandt's skills. Um, and the wrestling and the boxing, I think, are more precise on the Cody Garbrandt side. I think that the power is probably even between the two. Um, but I haven't seen much of Long, so I have to admit that I haven't seen much of him. Cody
I
gets,
did some digging. I didn't see much either.
but Cody can get very aggressive. But when he's on his game, it's hard. And he's saying this is the best camp he's had in like years.
Okay,
So
never heard that before.
if that is the best camp he's had in years, yeah, I know. But I don't see the precision from Long
I
for it
don't
to
see that
be
either.
like he's gonna throw with intention to knock out, but is Cody gonna be there to hit? If he is, the fight's over quick. Long can put him down. But if that magic shot doesn't land, then I'm gonna go with Cody Garbrandt with the all around skills to win. If he goes in there and he fights with patience, I think Cody Garbrandt wins. I'm gonna go out on a
I
limb.
think you're switching me a little bit. I
I-
think you're switching me a little bit because I do agree. I make fun of one fighter throwing an overhand right to knock somebody out. That's like looping and very,
hmm
in my opinion, uh, you could see it coming. And the Zhang Lao knockout I saw most predominantly something very similar. I just know it won't necessarily be a looping overhand, right? It'll be both of them in the pocket and
Yeah.
one person connecting. Um, but you know what? I you might have swayed me. I'm not necessarily going to change my pick, but I think that's why I think the odds are this close too.
hmm
You can see based on history and who Cody Garbrandt's fought how it could be one way or the other.
Yeah.
Um, and like we said, Jia Long at 27-10, man. Yes, he's 27-10. It's
But the
not much
comp,
UFC experience,
no, no,
right?
and he doesn't
So
have a lot of wins in the UFC. I
no,
think he's only what 1-2. Is that right? Or does he have more
yep,
fights than that?
he's
One
one
and
and
two.
two. Yeah,
Yeah, so you're taking a guy that's 1-2 in the UFC against a guy who's fought very high level competition,
yep.
and he's lost. He's got a lot of losses. I mean, he lost to Figueiredo. He lost to Barcelos. Both of those
Mm-hmm.
are top notch contenders.
Kai Kara France, Rob Font, Pedro Munoz, Dillashaw. Now we're going way back down. Dillashaw again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he did beat. Yeah, I mean, he beat Jones. He beat Kelleher, who has been a good fighter. I mean, he's not in the UFC anymore, but he's a good fighter.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got some decision losses on there, and a lot of his fights do end early. But here recently, you know, unanimous decision against Barcelos, a submission against Figueiredo, and that's 4 minutes into the round
Yeah.
with Figueiredo. And if you put Figueiredo against Long, I think we're having a different conversation.
No, for
And I know
sure.
you can't do MMA math like that, but at the
You
same
can't,
time,
but
like
yeah,
he's fought at a much higher level than
he
Long
has.
has. So I'm gonna go with Cody Garbrandt to get this done, to get moving back in the right
You might have swayed
direction.
me. You might have swayed me.
Well,
Give me no love. Give me no love. I might be on that board. I might be on that train now too. Um, there's a rematch on here as well outside of the Oliveira Holloway one, and
yeah.
it's our boy RoboCop versus Bruno Ferreira.
hmm
Um, Bruno put RoboCop on his back. Bruno knocked him out. Um, the odds say that that won't happen again.
Okay. What does Amal say?
I agree.
Okay.
I 1,000% agree, and here's why. That RoboCop still lived on power,
hmm
but he didn't apply front pressure fighting correctly. This new iteration of RoboCop throws jabs.
Yeah.
Every once in a while will stick a kick out there, walks you down, keeps his hands up.
hmm Yeah,
I
he
think
does
he's
that
become a
now.
better striker since then as well. Um, I think Bruno is a power puncher. I think he still waits a little bit for that power punch. Bruno can
Yeah.
wrestle. I will say that. Um, you might find yourself in a situation where Bruno gets you to the ground and before you know it, you're tapping,
hmm
right? which for what he does, you'd be surprised. But yes, in his last 3, he has 2 submission wins. And I've also watched Bruno go to a unanimous decision win over Marvin Vettori, which right now, yes, still impressive. But if it's one thing we know Marvin Vettori is, he's very durable.
Mhm.
So I'm not surprised by that either. I just think the output of RoboCop, and if the exchange happens again, I think RoboCop will win the exchange this time. So I'm
Okay.
going with RoboCop to take this one, um, and continue his little bit of a win streak that he's been on
Mhm.
lately. Um, I don't know if I'll necessarily say by finish yet. It would be kind of poetic for him to get that one back. Um, but I think he'll land some power shots, and it could be a good night for that team. What says you?
I'm gonna go with RoboCop in this one too. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because I've just got that feeling. It's hard to beat somebody twice.
Mm-hmm.
And that was so long ago. Sometimes your skills have developed enough that it's a wash. Um, but the level of competition, uh, they're both fighting good fighters here. Both of these guys are coming in looking over their competition, and they fought some really good competition. Both of them have.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm not going to say one's at a higher level than the other one. Um, I didn't see their first fight to see, like, was one dominant? Was it a lucky shot he got in there? Like, those are hard to tell anyway, what's luck and what's not. But,
I'll tell you how that exchange went. I didn't watch the whole thing, but Bruno was on the back foot. He was up against the cage.
mhm,
Robo approached him to not necessarily like pounce, but somewhat of a pounce, and his arms were out, and he was
mm,
open to be hit.
yeah,
And Bruno threw it down the pipe
yeah.
and caught him, no defense, right on the chin, sat him down.
Yeah, that's not characteristic of Rodriguez, I don't think. At least in now, since I've really started paying attention, I don't think that's really characteristic of him to leave his chin wide
It's not
open like that.
RoboCop's style anymore. Everything is right. Well,
Yeah,
like some version of here. Everything is up
mhm,
here,
yeah,
and he still throws, but everything comes back to where it's supposed to come
yeah.
back to. Probably learning off of that right there, that knockout. So
Now I'm gonna tell you this is a power for power fight. These are two of the most powerful people in that weight class, probably.
yeah.
As far as like brute strength, I would say
Hmm.
that these two are probably two of your top guys when you're thinking of guys who can just go in there and just manhandle people. Um, though Rodriguez seems to me to be a little more I don't want to say delicate in that. Like he's got a little bit better touch on it. He's a little more controlled, I think.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna ride with Rodriguez. I think he's gonna get done in the rematch and
Yeah,
keep moving on.
yeah. I'm with it. I'm with it. And at minus 180, injected into my veins. That's really good odds. That's fantastic odds. Okay, next one. I'm trying to get back to it. My phone started dinging a lot. I know you're not really a football guy, but DJ Moore got traded to the Buffalo Bills.
Did he really?
So yeah, yeah.
Okay.
They're trying to get Josh Allen a little bit more help on the wide receiver end.
He was
Rightfully so.
DJ Moore coming from the Bears, yeah.
Yeah,
What are they gonna
yeah.
do without him?
They
And they're
got
gonna
good players.
draft?
They drafted a bunch of rookies. They had Luther Burden, who was solid down the stretch. They have Romeo Dunze, which if he didn't get hurt, he was solid in the beginning of the year.
Mhm.
They got tight ends everywhere. They probably will draft another one, but the wide receiver room was getting pretty full. And DJ Moore, um, he didn't cause issues necessarily last year, but previous years his effort has been called into question. So they give him a change of scenery. Josh Allen gets a wide receiver.
Yeah.
I think both sides are happy. I don't
Okay.
know what the compensation is, but I'll have to look into that potentially. But back on fighting. This is a fighting pod,
This
even though we do
is
football pods too on this channel. So
that's
check
right.
those out as well. Um, Drew Dober, Michael Johnson. This is the Unk Olympics. This is the Unks getting in there and throwing hands. I Michael Johnson's on a bit of a renaissance, man.
Yes, he is.
Drew Dober
He won
has
his
won
last one.
against some competition as well.
Oh
This
yeah,
is a tricky one.
it
This is
very
a tricky
tricky.
one because Michael Johnson is known for getting flatlined by people you don't expect him to get flatlined by. But where does Drew Dober fall in that ranking? Because I don't think I would be surprised if Drew Dober dropped Michael Johnson. But Drew Dober's not like a world beater either.
Yeah,
It's like that weird range. You know what I mean? Like,
this is a very good fight.
it is. But I don't see it going the distance. That I will say. And if it does go the distance, I'm leaning with Michael Johnson in that regard. With
Okay.
speed in those exchanges. I could see Drew Dober getting in that pocket and just flooring him though. I could. Drew Dober is a little power puncher, man.
Yeah,
And he's gonna have to close the distance,
he
you
is.
know? He's 5'8", but he doesn't carry it that way against Michael Johnson, who's 5'10", who seems taller than 5'10".
Yeah, but when you're
Um
throwing that overhand right, it's coming up in height,
yeah. Uh
and that puts him right at the height to get hit.
yeah. Yeah. I'm leaning kind of on the Dober side here. You know?
I do. Um,
I'm leaning on the Dober side here.
let me
And it's not razor thin, but it's close.
let me say this: Drew Dober is a dog.
Mhm.
He's going to be one of those people. He's a real gritty fighter. He's
Yeah.
going to get punched and he's going to get bloodied, and he's just going to keep going. You're going to have to,
Mhm.
I mean, he's human, right? So you can hurt him and you can put him down, but I mean, you're going to know you were in there in a fight with Drew Dober.
Yeah.
Nobody's going into a fight with Dober and coming out completely clean. They're going to get clicked. Um, but Michael Johnson's so fast. 3 in a row. There's only 2 years in age, so it's not like you can say he's the ancient person in this fight. Like, Drew Dober's 37.
Mhm.
So, with his style at 37 versus Michael Johnson's style at 37, and quite honestly, you know, the wars that Johnson has been in, Dober's also been in them, you
Yeah,
know?
it's been in a few. Yeah.
Um, it's tough. I give the speed advantage to Michael Johnson. Um, I don't know who I'd give the wrestling advantage to because they can both wrestle. Um, Power probably to Drew Dober, but speed usually beats power. That overhand right is what gives me pause, though. If he can land that overhand right, that's Drew Dober's path to victory, I think. And
I just don't think he's gonna be afraid to get in there and strike with them. And when he
he's
gets in there and
not.
strikes with
He's
them,
not.
he's gonna close distance and he's gonna throw bombs. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
love the Zell Huber win for Michael Johnson. It has lost so much like shine. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like you're gonna look back at that and be like, of course Michael Johnson beat him. Um, though Dober leaves himself to be hit because he
Mhm.
gets taken a lot of damage in his career, he's gonna apply pressure. He's gonna throw. And Michael Johnson in those exchanges, unfortunately, we've seen him go lights out.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for the fight just as a viewer, but as a person who looks to the books to kind of supplement my income at times, I kind of like the Dober at plus 100. I do a little bit.
Um,
Um, but in terms of
yeah.
like, if you're actually looking at it, I could see this being a stay away fight.
Yeah.
Just watch and enjoy
Yeah. I'll be honest with you.
because
That's
yeah,
probably the route I'll take with this one.
yeah, it's a stay away fight because both guys are very dangerous,
Yeah.
right? Um, again, I'm not trying to just throw dirt on the Zellhuber win, but it's
Yeah.
not doing as much as it for me as it used to do, you know. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna ride with Dober to get it done.
I'm going to
This next
go.
one's the odds are locked. I don't know. You go ahead, finish it up,
Oh, I
but
was
I'll
going to
tell you
go
more
with
about it.
Dober just because
Okay.
I've seen him in so many wars and I've seen him just keep going like the Energizer Bunny.
Yeah.
And in that kind of case there, I mm, that's so tough. But I'm
It
gonna
is a tough
I'm gonna
fight.
err on the side of Drew Dober. But as far as
Yeah.
like if I would put money on this fight, I don't know that I would put money on this fight.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
very dangerous one to do, you know?
yeah,
It's a very dangerous one to ride with. Um, you can't even put money on this next one because they locked the odds. It's Rob Font versus Raul Rosas
they locked
Jr.
the
And I don't know.
odds.
They locked it right now. Yeah,
Wow,
it's just locked. I'm not sure if something came out about an injury or something, or
interesting.
if there's going to be somebody filling in on short notice, or if the fight got pulled because it
Yeah.
is Thursday. Um, but something happened since we've gotten on to record to where when I go look at the odds, it's just locked. I'll even give a little on the camera. That's just a lock right there. So I don't know. I mean, you can still bet on who's going to have more significant strikes, who's going to have more takedowns landed. But in terms of just betting on the fight itself, straight up, odds are locked. Rahul Rosas, aka Chiwiwis. Um,
He's so weird.
he's such a weird dude. Was kind of that young guy
Yeah,
that the UFC was pushing. He got a little bit of a reality check, but he's still on a good run. Only one loss. I think he's 20 now, maybe. At one point he was like 19.
oh gosh,
Fighting in practically high school. And Rob Font is on the opposite end of the spectrum. Rob Font is late 30s and has taken a few losses as of recent.
yeah,
Um, yeah, it's a 21-year-old Rosas versus 38-year-old Rob Font.
yeah. Give me Rosas all day.
Yeah, I'm riding with the Rosas side as well. Um, the only thing is, I still don't have the strongest confidence in Rosas's hands.
No.
I do not. And I've watched Rob Font win a decision against Matsumoto, who I hold in high regard with his hands.
Hmm.
And when I say he has a win against Matsumoto, that's in 2025, right? So
Yeah.
I'm not saying, oh, it's long, long time ago. I think the path to victory here for Rosas is to find a way to get this into a grappling match ASAP. And Rob Font is 4-1 against the sub, which I understand. But Rosas is supposed to be a prodigy there. That was what they kind of hung their hat on when they got him in the UFC, is that he's going to be an elite level wrestler,
Hmm.
especially at that young of an age. I don't trust him to win a striking match against Rob, and I think on the
Mm.
ground it's not necessarily going to be a submission attempt, but you could probably win based on ground control if you get in a good
Yeah.
a good situation. Um, I think it's a somewhat dangerous fight. I don't know what the odds are. Obviously it's locked.
Yeah.
But if I'm picking my winner, I'm leaning with the 21-year-old still. I
Yeah.
just say be cautious. Be cautious, because I maybe I'm just blinded by Gene Matsumoto, but I put a lot of stock in that win against Gene Matsumoto. Split decision or whatever it is, even if you think he lost the fight, if it goes to a split decision with a guy like that, that means you're in there giving it a good run.
Hmm.
It gives me reason. Maybe I go back and watch that fight and see how it actually went. Um, Again, I'm sticking with Rosas, but I'm a bit apprehensive. What says you? I know you
Gotcha.
said Rosas all day. Do
Yeah.
you have any reason why you're that confident?
Just because I don't believe in Rob Font anymore. To as far as not that he couldn't be a good fighter on most levels in MMA in
Yeah.
most organizations. Um, but because this is the UFC and the competition is so high, um, and Rosas is that young, dynamic. He's so quick. I just don't
Hmm.
think Rob Font's going to be able to keep him off of him. I think Rosas is going to get in there and kind of just smother him with pressure and with takedown. And I know that's not something that Rob Font's usually known for, is getting pressured so much.
Yeah.
But I think that Rosas is going to do that. I don't think he's going to have a hesitation to go in there. My guy's talking about maybe retiring at 25.
I
Um,
know. He's
but
putting a lot of pressure on himself.
he's putting a ton of pressure on himself. That's what gives me pause is the amount of pressure he's putting on himself. But some people work better under pressure, and if he's one of those people, um, you know,
Hmm.
then this is going to be a short night for Rob Font because that submission is going to get him out of there pretty quick. I think. Um, Now, having said that, I have seen Rosas get in there and get stumped before. That one loss that he
Hmm.
has. He was pretty stumped in there. Really couldn't do very much. Um, but he responded well. I think he's rattled off what 4 wins since then. So this
Hmm.
is a substantial step up in competition, though. Rob Font.
Yeah, it is.
This is kind of a you're going to be ranked after this, and once you're ranked, your competition level is going to
Goes
be
up exponentially. Yeah.
yeah, very high. So we're going to see how he does against this one. There is some apprehension, just in the fact that this is such a big step up in competition. For all I just said about Rob Font, he's still a good fighter. He's still dynamic in his striking. But I do think Rosas is going to come in and get it done. And I think it's going to probably make it look easy.
That'd be big for him if he does. That'd be big for him if he does. He kind of leapfrogs a lot of guys. If he goes in there and takes Rob Font out the way that you're expecting him to take Rob Font
Hmm.
out. I'm excited to see what the odds end up being. I don't think you're saying it's going to be quick. I think the odds on that would be very high.
Yeah.
Um, I think it might be a little bit more of a drawn out ground control type of game, and I would take him to win in over 2.5 rounds. You say he gets him out of there quick.
Yeah. And I'm
Under one and a
thinking,
half rounds is plus
um,
475.
I would say in the first 2 rounds. I don't know if I'd go under 1.5, but then at that
If you
point, you're
go under
splitting
2.5, it's
hairs.
plus 300. So
Hey, yeah, I think he gets it done.
it seems like Rob Font's the favorite, just based on what I'm looking at. But it's
I
all
can see
locked.
it.
I can't wait to see what happens. I
I
can't
can
wait
see
to
it.
see what happens. Um, Kai Baralo versus Renier de Ridder.
Hmm.
We talked about the odds being kind of interesting on this one.
We did.
Renier's plus 210. Kaio's minus 275. We're not Renier de Ridder fans necessarily. Definitely not Renier de Ridder fans in 5 round fights. But length control, distance control, striking creativity, power with the leg kicks, power with the knees, power with the jab over a 3 round fight against Kaio, who I think is still kind of figuring out how to fight a 3 round fight. I think Kaio is definitely a good finisher.
Hmm.
In terms of like fighting a longer fight that goes to decision, I think he still has room to grow in that regard.
Hmm.
I don't think the activity is high enough. So the odds on this is kind of surprising for me. Um, it's one of those things where I don't say you can necessarily hedge your bets, right? But
Right.
if this goes to unanimous decision, it's not going to be Kaio. He's going to have to take DeRitter out of there. I think he has to finish DeRitter. I think the path to victory for DeRitter in terms of decision or sub or something like that, I think there's more paths that way. I even
Hmm.
think DeRitter has enough in his toolbox to finish a Kaio.
No, that's where I think he wins it. I don't. I would actually disagree and say if it goes the distance, Kaio
Really?
to win. Yeah, I think if it's
Hmm.
finished early, I mean, Kaio can finish him. Like he's got the hands to do it. He's got the weapons to do it. Um, and he fought Imavov. Like Imavov won that fight, but it was a close
Yeah.
fight. Like it was still close. Like how we talked about last week, where it's like you know there's 3 rounds. They lost all three of them, but all 3 rounds were razor close.
Yeah.
Imavov Barao was very similar to that, I thought. Imavov a little more of an advantage than that fight last week, but um, I think if DeRitter Barao goes all the way, I think that favors um, Kaio.
That's interesting.
But I
Okay.
think if it ends early, I think that actually favors DeRitter because I think those knees that he's going to throw in there, it's going to lead to the grappling. The
Mhm.
one thing the fighting nerds are really not known for, even though they're from Brazil, is not high level grappling. And
They're not,
I
no.
think De Ridder with his length is going to be able to put the pressure on his shorter guy when he gets in there on the clinch, and he's going to be able to knee him, and he's going to be able to get him to the ground. And I think a De Ridder submission um, is the most likely outcome,
Okay.
followed by a TKO outcome, which I don't see very well. But I think if it goes to unanimous decision, I do not believe in De Ritter's gas tank to be able to take it down.
DeRitter DeRitter sub and DeRitter TKO plus 1100 plus 1200.
Fine with me.
Just so you know.
Fine with me. I know what the
The
odds
most
did to me
likely
last week, but fine with me.
the most likely income the most likely outcome that Vegas has currently is Kaio by decision plus 125.
Okay.
So they believe in your method, if it's going to decision, it's going to be Kaio.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I just think DeRitter has good activity in there.
Mhm.
DeRitter doesn't just sit back and wait. He's not necessarily a counter striker. Um, which Ian Gary has been known to be a little bit more.
Yeah.
He'll apply pressure, but he's more waiting to see where your opportunities are. And if you're going to be inactive, he's going to fill the space with low kicks and jabs and enough so that the judges see activity and he could win around easily that way.
Mhm.
I could see DeRitter fighting a very similar fight against Kaio. Um, I liken this fight to what happened Gary versus Prates. That's kind of how I see this working out potentially. Um, where Prates, or in this case, is going to be Kaio, is going to be chasing rounds against DeRitter, and he's going to run out of time.
Mm.
And then if it's not a third round finish, it's going to be a third round win. I think Kaio could win a third round,
Yeah.
but he's going to
I
be
can
down
see it.
two going into the third, and DeRitter sneaks out a win that way.
Yeah.
Um, love the plus 210 odds on DeRitter. I think I'm going to go DeRitter to win this one, but if it ends before the bell, it's going to be Kaio. I think
Okay.
he catches. I think he catches him in the pocket.
I
I
can
think
see that.
DeRitter loses track of his distance management,
Mm.
and he catches him in the pocket, and he folds him because
Yeah.
I think he has enough power to fold
He
DeRitter for
does.
sure.
He does.
And with him not having to worry about it being a 5-round fight, you get in that pocket, you could really unleash a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you could drop him that way. So great fight. If I'm going safe, I'm gonna go. Which ironic, if I'm going safe, I'm going to go DeRitter plus 210
Yeah.
to win this, or DeRitter by decision. If I'm going with the spectacular and what I'd love to see happen, I'd go
Mhm.
Caio Braio by KO,
Yeah.
to sit DeRitter down
I
and win this match.
I'm gonna agree with you that Kyle has every bit of ability to put DeRitter down. Um,
Hmm.
the reason I go with Kyle in a decision is because I've seen Kyle go 5 rounds and keep going. Pretty
Yeah,
pretty beat up, pretty roughed up. He's still got the gas tank. DeRitter
he could put his foot on the gas crazy for a 3-rounder.
yeah,
That's why I'm not against your pick at all.
DeRitter has, you know, gassed out, but it
Hmm.
wasn't the first time he gassed out. Like
Hmm.
this has been something that's happened in his career a few times. So that's why I say if it goes to decision, I am not going with DeRitter to win that decision. I do think he's got the height and the length to keep Kyle at bay, but also to close that distance and be able to hit him with those knees and do damage. Um,
Hmm.
Now it's I see a scenario where he wins the first 2 rounds, drops the third, and still wins a decision. But I don't have much, for Kyle to come on in the third round and really put it on him. I could see that too. So, but I'm going to go with DeRitter. I think he's got more ways to win this, as long as it doesn't involve his gas tank, because I don't believe in
Yeah,
him to have fixed that problem because in the
plus
past
210
he
is
didn't.
crazy. I think it should be a lot closer. Plus 210 is
Yeah.
crazy. I understand Kaio's gas tank and ferocity and,
Yeah.
fighting nerds and power, but I still have faith, or not faith. I still believe Robert Whitaker is a power striker. Yes, he
Hmm.
gassed out as well in that 5-round fight.
Yeah.
Um, Height's different, length's different, but I think you could see a similar style of
Hmm.
fight from the Ritter that he implemented with
Yeah.
higher volume against Brawler in this one that he did against, Whitaker.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we get to the main event,
Main event.
which should be a very, very, very fun fight.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Give me a second. I'm pulling up Foya's phone number.
For what?
Max Holloway versus Charles Dubronx Oliveira, part 2, but in reality, really part 1. BMF belt on the line, and you don't want to say a fight is predetermined to go a certain way. But if we approach this fight as MMA fans who've watched both these guys fight over the last few years, one guy is a very gifted grappler with the ability to strike at times, and one guy is a very gifted striker who doesn't really do much in the grappling game. One guy has gone up to a weight where he has looked fantastic in the striking game.
Mm-hmm.
One guy has had a decent run, held a belt and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it wasn't off the back of being a supreme striker.
Yeah.
And Vegas is giving me the opportunity to take the more calculated, very active, on his feet, hard to bring down because he doesn't really stay in front of you long enough striker who has not had a first round finish of a fighter since that fabled day in 2015 at over 2.5 rounds and to win at plus 110. Yeah. Yeah. Once in a lifetime, there comes opportunities like this where it's just that is the path.
Mm-hmm.
That is the path. Now I'm not saying it's a freebie. I'm not saying that Max Holloway is unbeatable. But if you're going to tell me that Max Holloway is going to lose the fight
Mm-hmm.
in under 2.5 rounds, I could give you that. If you're telling me Max Holloway is going to lose the fight in over 2.5 rounds via ground control or whatever, less likely, but okay. I could give you that. If you're a Max Holloway fan and you think he's going to win the fight and you've watched Max Holloway fight for the last few years, when is the last time you've seen Max Holloway finish someone in the first 2 rounds? I'll wait.
Mm. No.
It's not
Mm-mm.
really a thing. He unfortunately, for those who love the Korean Zombie, took out the Korean Zombie a few years back,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think that's the last time he had a very early stoppage win. And that was a round 3 win. So he still went over two
Yeah.
and a half. Did it go over? Yeah, it still went over Did it go? Yeah. It was the back end of the. No, that's under 2.5. That's over 2.5 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's under. That's
Wait.
under because it went to round 3. It went to round 3. So that's the last time that he won a fight. Yep, was the Korean Zombie one. Because 23 seconds means it was 23 seconds into the round.
Right.
Right? So outside of Korean Zombie, which it was still more recently, which we know what Korean Zombie is about. He gets in there, he makes himself very hittable. He wasn't going to take him on the ground. He stands and he strikes with Max, right?
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that one, you look across Max's victories in the last 10 years, nothing is coming before 4th round, 5th round, late 3rd, ever.
So
Right?
just an update in the time since we've been doing this podcast, that line has moved. It is now
How bad?
minus 105 for Holloway to win over 2.5. The line has moved. I hope you placed your bet before.
I did not.
Oh, but if you want to go over 3.5, it's at plus 150.
I still think so. Let me give the pick. It's Max. It's Max by finishing 4th or 5th, or it's Max by decision. That is my pick. I think Max could put a lot of damage on DuBronx. I think DuBronx is going to be durable. I think he's going to be in there. This is the BMF fight after all. I think it's going to be a long night.
Mm-hmm.
I think DuBronx is going to need to get this on the ground for it to be for him. And if he does get him on the ground, that's not Max's area of expertise
It's not,
against a Charles DuBronx, right?
but he's
I just feel like it's hard to catch Max.
yeah.
It's hard to wrap him up. And I think Charles is going to get in there and exchange with him.
Mm-hmm.
People said he's been practicing the point down and he's been willing to point down at any point in the fight. If he does that, I still don't even believe that
Mm-hmm.
Max is the power puncher on fresh legs to do that. Maybe if he does that in one of the later rounds,
Yeah.
he could drop him. But more past the victory for Max, in my opinion. I think Max, the safest play is over 1.5 rounds, which I think is like minus 140. Might be
Mm-hmm.
minus 150 now since we've sat down to talk. But if you were able to catch it at plus 110 over 2.5 rounds, congratulations. that was some great juice. That means something heavy came in on it in the last hour.
People
to move
probably
it
looked
that
at it
far.
and said, "What?"
Yeah, they said, "Hold on, are they sure over 2.5 max?" History. I mean, he's been in there with some strong chinned guys.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in there with some killers. Max is not getting people out, and I grant people put a lot of stock in the 155 move, and it is good for him.
Yeah.
He's not Tapuria. He's not Poirier. He's not. That's not his fight style. He's not just dropping people with power shots. He has the most significant strikes, I think, in a fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's for a reason.
Yeah.
Right. I don't want to compare him to like a Sugar, but like it's death by 1,000 cuts. It's not
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
come in and take your head off. It's not his fight
100%.
style. So I'm taking Max to win the fight. I'm taking Max to win the fight in a long one. I think you get to get your money's worth.
Mm-hmm.
All $15 or $10 a month, depending what your Paramount plan is. You get your money's worth
Yeah.
in this one. All 5 rounds potentially, but definitely deep past the third. And I think Max plays that game very smart all the way out and gets that belt and then calls out Top afterwards to see if he could get that one back. And I would not be surprised if the UFC obliged, because
Yeah.
though they want to see Tapuria potentially send Justin Gaethje to purgatory, right? Or heaven, depending on how you believe. I don't think they'd be upset at watching those two go in there and quote unquote brawl, but essentially Tapuria drop Gaethje. They wouldn't be upset at that. There's a lot of steam, especially from the person to my right or left, depending how this video exports, saying that Holloway's a different guy at 155.
So
I'll allow him to fill that air right now.
to that end, Holloway is a different guy at 155.
Okay.
He does not have to cut that extra 10 pounds, which means what's he going to do? He's been at 145 since he was like 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He's near 30 now.
Mm-hmm.
Your body's naturally going to put on more muscle, and the more that you work out, the more muscle you're going to get. Muscle weighs more than fat. At a certain point, still dropping to 145 means you're dehydrating. Don't get me wrong, but you're having to keep that muscle down. And so Max Holloway at 155 is going to be just a little bit stronger.
Okay.
And the big difference in most athletic competitions is strength. They know that when they take marathon runners and put them on strength programs, they become better marathon runners. When you take an athlete and you make them stronger, they usually become a better athlete. I'm not saying gain a bunch of weight, even though it is 10 pounds. We're not talking about he's moving up to middleweight here. We're talking about he's
Hmm.
moving up 10 pounds, which he could have fought 5 years ago and just not cut as much weight and been there.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's not going to have a big reach advantage. Max Holloway, for how tall he was at featherweight, is
Hmm.
not going to be the sizable favorite in there against Oliveira as far as height and reach goes. He
Hmm.
doesn't have long arms. He's not going to be doing that. But the output that he does with a little bit of more pop on his punch, I still don't think he's going to be a knockout artist, but I do think, like you were saying, death by 1,000 cuts, and he's going to be more sturdy and he's going to be able to do it. And you could say, well, yeah, but he's going against 155, and 155 are bigger guys, and Charles used to fighting the bigger guys. This guy just put down Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier, which were two of your top middleweights or lightweights for years now,
Hmm.
and he's already beaten both of them, and they weren't flukes. He dominated Gaethje for 5 rounds. If I'm Gaethje, I don't want any piece of the winner of a Topuria Max Holloway fight. Like Topuria is a monster. And for how much shade I throw his way, he's still a monster. And Holloway beat you for 5 rounds and then knocked you out in the last second. Um, he retired Poirier, not in he beat him so bad he retired, but just like that was his retirement fight. And
Yeah. He sent him out. Yeah.
yeah, and I think
And the,
Holloway is gonna dominate this fight. I don't actually think it's gonna be very close.
I don't think so. I think minus 225 to plus 180 was respectable odds for Charles do Bronx, and I think people's love for Charles as a fighter probably led to the money piling in on that side a little
Hmm.
bit to keep it this close, this long.
Yeah,
Um, but if you're not going to give me the plus juice at over 2.5 rounds, I'm going to take the free money and go Max Holloway over 1.5 rounds at like minus 150.
yeah,
You're giving me a gift right there. Um, the first round, I could easily see Max just pitter pattering, testing his range, seeing what he has in Charles, not allowing him to get any early grapples while they're still dry, and then going into the second round
yeah.
with more intention.
And look, Charles can win this on the ground if it goes to the ground.
Yeah, 1,000%. Yeah,
I believe in Holloway's ability to keep it off the ground.
yeah.
That's
Max, for all the losses he had against Volk, different level grappler, but he gave Alex a ton of issues trying to get him down to the mat.
mhm,
They had to stand in there and bang for three
yeah,
fights, essentially. And Volk's not necessarily a submission artist as Oliveira, so it's not like
right.
his primary goal to get you down there to sub you. But as a shorter guy, having to get, again, pitter pattered over and over
Mhm,
by Max, you're gonna try to take him down at times. And it was highly unsuccessful
yeah.
quite a few times in those
And
fights.
I would say that Volk is probably the better takedown artist. He's not better once he gets to the ground, but um, I don't believe that Charles is going to have great ability to take Max down.
Yeah, I think give me Max over 1.5 rounds. And you mentioned Gaethje not wanting to fight Top, but here's the one thing I think Top doesn't prepare for when fighting a Gaethje. Right, not to take away from Top, the fighters he's fought before outside of Charles have fought with intention to protect themselves while going in there to fight him, not timidly,
True,
right? But
true.
they approach the fight in a way where they're trying to exchange with him, but exit out without getting caught. Gaethje's gonna stand there like a deer in headlights and just bang. And I'm not sure if Top is prepared for if he goes in there to exchange with
Yeah,
a Gaethje and he connects and he doesn't drop, that Gaethje's still gonna be within range while
yeah,
Top's hands are away from his body and is gonna throw. And Gaethje sits on his shots as well.
yeah.
And
And
maybe that's what the UFC is gonna try to sell me.
mhm,
Do I believe that Top has a power to drop Gaethje? I kind of do, but at the same
mhm,
time, I don't know now because
yeah,
I watched Gaethje stand in there and take haymakers from Patty and walk forward like maybe it was the antibiotics for the staff. I mean maybe it was he was just in a different zone that night.
in the zone. in the zone.
right? But he's just thick necked and eating shots and not moving off of his position and
Yeah,
sitting on everything he throws. I don't think he bounced or like shift side to side that entire fight with Patty. Run
yeah,
that fight back, feet flat on the ground, walking forward, almost like Frankenstein, haymakers. Whole time. Eye pokes, haymakers also
yeah.
behind
I
those, right? I don't know.
I would like to
That's
see, and I know this is kind of flipped in reverse a little bit because usually I'm the one who's not the top person on this, and I actually called for Gaethje top at the White House
you
last
did, yeah.
year. Um,
Yeah.
if that fight happens, you make a valid point because I am reminded that it happens with some fighters that when they're knockout artists and they go in there and they punch somebody as hard as they can and they don't go down, it does something to their psyche. And if Top gets in there and throws one at Gaethje and Gaethje says, "Come on," it could do something to his psyche in there because I don't know that Top's ever had somebody take a shot like that and is still staying. So if he hits it flush on Gaethje and Gaethje doesn't go down the first time, that might give a decided advantage to Gaethje because he's going to throw. He hits like a truck. If you
Yeah.
believe the people he's fought, like he's the hardest hitter most of them have fought. So, and I don't know that we've ever seen Taporia really tested with his chin. So,
He got dropped with a kick early in his career, but that's pretty much it. Um, Max got caught exiting against Top.
mhm, yeah,
Volk got caught exiting against Top. None of them are really like in the pocket sitting.
yeah, Gaethje doesn't exit.
That's what I'm saying. Gaethje doesn't
You
exit,
know what? You
right?
might have
Like
changed my mind on the whole
Charles
way
the
that fight's gonna
Bronx.
go.
Charles the Bronx doesn't exit. He should have exited, but like, but like Gaethje doesn't exit, and he
Yeah,
sits on those shots. And
mhm,
if he sits on the shot and takes the punch,
yeah,
and doesn't go down, which that's the big deciding factor because if he sits on his shot or he sits in the pocket, gets caught and gets dropped, big surprise, right?
yeah,
Like Top drops people at 155.
yeah,
But if he connects and doesn't get dropped
dude,
and is there to throw something back with
because
Top
he's gonna
also in the
throw it
pocket,
back.
because Top doesn't back out when he engages either.
Mm-mm.
Top stays in there because when he connects, people falls,
Yeah,
right? So he's comfortable sitting on the shot, landing, and being within striking range.
yeah,
If he's in within striking range and gets caught with something heavy, it could change the perspective of the fight.
yeah,
Who's the better wrestler? I'm being told Top. I've never had to see Gaethje wrestle. I'm told that he's a wrestler.
yeah.
You
He
know
is
why
a
I haven't had to
defensively.
see Gaethje wrestle? Because he stays in the pocket because he doesn't care if you wrestle with him.
Yeah,
That makes me think he's a good wrestler. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't have to show me. He's shown me by staying in those
mhm,
exchanges and not running from potential ground exchanges.
yeah,
That's why he just walks like a man who's possessed sometimes in there because it's almost like he fears nothing.
yeah. The only thing that I will say that I saw him fear was Khabib's takedowns,
Oh yeah, well, okay.
and that he got beat and he got dominated in that fight because he was backing up the whole time. He was backing up the whole time. I think he learned his lesson on that. I think he's gonna move forward, and he, you know,
You're giving him the select few though. Like if you're telling me,
yeah,
okay, you go in there against Islam and he does that, or you go in there against Khabib and he does that, cool.
right,
I get that, right? Those are the outliers. Again, for everything the Top is a Georgian wrestler. We haven't had to see that part of his game. It doesn't carry that same level of like, okay, let me not get grabbed, right? Or
right,
also, Top doesn't strike me as a guy who walks around at a light heavyweight, natural weight, and then sheds all these pounds to come down
right,
to where they're fighting. You know what I mean? Islam does not look like a small welter. He was
right,
shedding to get to light. You know what I mean?
yeah,
He looks comfortable at welterweight. Top looks comfortable at lightweight.
yeah. If I had to guess, I'd say the Top probably walks around 160, 165,
Yeah, and
and
he's a
then
smaller dude.
he
So
dropped
like,
to 145, so that's a good
mhm,
20 pounds. I mean, he could be in the 175 range.
yeah,
Gaethje's probably sitting 185, 190 when he's not fighting. Um, you know.
Exactly. And that neck makes me think he is about 190, 180 when he's not fighting. And that neck could probably take a shot. Because again, we say, our boy doesn't have knockout power. Holloway doesn't have knockout power like that. But he did eat like
Yeah.
quite a bit with a broken nose in there.
Hmm.
And it took guys throwing with reckless abandon in the last 5 seconds to really drop Gaethje.
Yeah.
Um, so look, I'm not saying Top loses to Gaethje if they fight. I'm just saying the odds are going to come back and tell you here. Gaethje's a minus, not my bad. Top is a minus 350 favorite against Gaethje, the plus 275. I just say investigate both fighters.
Yeah.
Because unlike some other times where we come in and it's a new view of the guys, I've seen a lot of Gaethje, I've seen a lot of Top, and the more I think about it, it's not as far of a fight if certain things transpire, right? These guys haven't been tested Topuria, in my opinion, hasn't been tested by the power puncher that is Gaethje. Love Volk, he's a smaller
Yeah.
dude. He wasn't gonna have that knockout power against, to be honest, probably anyone.
Hmm.
Right? He's just a very, very technical guy. So I'm more on board. I'd love to see Gaethje Topuria at the White House. I think we need to come back, even if it's, doing a quick review of a fight night
Yeah.
and then hopping straight into, doing a White House card proposal again,
They're about to
because things are
release it.
starting to shape up. But,
They said
huh?
they're releasing it before this paper or this numbered card. They're going to release a lineup.
We need to investigate and see. We probably have to do a couple previews of that then,
Yeah, they haven't released
because
it yet.
there hasn't been any leaks.
check
There's
this
been
morning.
like rumors, but no
Yeah,
leaks.
they said
Um,
they said it was solidified the other day, and they're gonna release the lineup just before 326. So we're like
so
just before.
let's close out this pod with our predictions so that we can seem really smart when it gets
Okay.
released. The UFC 326. So here's a fighter that's definitely on there. Top. Top's definitely on there. He came back to train, not necessarily in the camp, but he came back to train. That leads me to believe that he's on there. A fighter who just vacated the belt is definitely on there. Now, who's his opponent? They claim it's John. I don't know if it'll be John, but Pereira will be fighting for a heavyweight belt at the White House. Top will be on there, probably against Gaethje, like we said.
You know who just teased a comeback? Tom Aspinall said back to business on his Instagram.
Tom Aspinall Pereira for the belt.
Could be.
Tom Aspinall Pereira for the belt. Um, I wouldn't be mad at that at all.
Mm-mm.
But John seems like that he's in talks, and if they could get John back, it's going to be John. And you're not going to leave Pereira out after he just vacated. So
Could you imagine if they
that
stripped
creates a little bit of a
Tom
mess.
to make that fight, and Tom still doesn't get to fight John for the belt?
We'd have to come back and talk about that. Kayla Harrison, if she is healthy, Kayla Nunes will be on that card. I don't know if we see Volk on that card. Sean didn't get a call, he said, but Sean could be lying. Not calling him a liar, but Sean could be lying. Because if they tell you to keep things quiet, the only way he could talk about it is probably by like demeaning himself. Sean's a little bit of a self-deprecator. I've
Mhm.
noticed. He'll talk down on his, what he got going on and his abilities at times. But if Sean's lying, Sean could be on that card. You know who is very interesting as well? Peter Yan said that he has not heard Russians are not allowed to fight on that card,
He
and he
has
thinks it would
not
be a show of
heard.
good. Yep, he said it would be a show of goodwill beyond politics to have Russians on that White House card. And I think that's a very interesting comment for Peter Yan to make.
I think it's a very, very spot
Well timed
on
too with it coming
comment.
out this week,
But
right?
what is that now?
I said a very interesting comment to come out this week now that you're informing me that the card is going to be released on Saturday.
Yeah. If there's one thing we know about Trump is he doesn't care what people think in the media. So
Yeah.
if you were doing this with any other president, you would say, "You're being accused of ties with Russia. There's no way you should put a Russian fighter on this fight card that's gonna be held on the grounds of the White House. They should not have access to that. There's no way you should give them that platform." Trump doesn't care about that.
No, he does not.
So, and it's only gonna spark controversy, and that's gonna help his name in the long run, I guess, because no publicity is bad publicity. Or no
No,
bad there's no bad publicity, so that's only gonna help charge the controversy, and I could see it.
I could see it. I could see a Peter Yan versus Sean O'Malley part two, part three, part two,
Oh, man.
part two. Yeah, I
Part
could see
2.
that on there
And I would
at the White House.
mm,
Um,
I mean, how many belts do you wanna put around Russians at the White House to be seen doing it? I mean
Indeed. All right, but that's my initials on what could be there. What says you? I want to hear your predictions of what will be released.
okay, so here's my predictions. It's nobody on any of the fight cards they've named so far. So if you're on a fight card that you've
Yeah,
from this one on, because you don't know if you're going to win this fight. So how are they going to put how are they going to put Max Holloway on the fight? You
can't
know,
do it.
because he's already got one. So if they truly are going to name it today,
Hmm.
tomorrow, the next day, those are your only
Hmm.
options if it's before 326. Um, so if they already name it before 326, it's nobody that's on any of these fight cards right now, which means John Jones, Taporia, um, Justin Gaethje, um, Tom Aspinall, um, Gone. Um,
Jelton Almeida.
no, he's not with them anymore. Come on now, Shelton Almeida. Get out of here with that. Um,
Oh
you're
goodness.
not gonna have
I'd throw up. Imagine they said Jelton Almeida versus Alex Pereira for the
you're
belt.
not gonna have
Oh,
Prates, you're not gonna have Caio, you're not gonna have Della
why would you not have
Maddalena,
Prates?
because Prates is fighting Della Maddalena on May 2nd.
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah, they gave him that. Oh, he also came out and said that his name was offered to Connor and Connor turned it down. So
I'm not surprised.
Connor said he's coming back in summer now, but that could be a ruse.
Well,
He
if he's
could.
coming back in,
July's technically
but
summer.
yeah. Conor McGregor's name is out there. Technically, Michael Chandler does not have a fight lined up that I'm aware of.
You know what? Give him the fight. Please give him the fight.
If
Oh
you're
gosh,
McGregor and you want to mess with that man's psyche, you take a fight against somebody else just to say no.
you'll do
Um,
as you're told.
yeah, right. No. We'll fight later in the year. Don't you worry about it.
Yeah, catch me in Christmas.
Right. Um, so if you've got I can't believe they do it this far in advance, but I mean, you're talking about your top 7, 8, 9, 10, your top 10 pound for pound fighters. No, top 9 pound
Hmm.
for pound fighters do not have a fight lined up. That is
Hmm.
Hamzat Shemaev, Islam Makhachev, Topuria, Volkanovski, Pereira, Yan, Dwalishvili, and Aspinall, and
Hmm.
Pantoja.
Hmm.
Um, So you're not going to see because Joshua Van have a fight coming up.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
fighting Tetsuro Taira in Miami.
So you're not going to see a
327.
title fight for there.
Hmm.
Armin Sarukian could be on it. He doesn't have a fight lined up, does he?
No, he's
Um,
a RAF specialist right now.
Jarikas is recovering from an injury, so I would say if he's recovered by then, maybe you get a Jarikas on there. Um,
Hmm.
Strickland is probably going to be on there.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
maybe a Strickland Duplessis for the title or Strickland Chimaev for the title. Though I'm
Strickland Chimaev for the title could be it.
inclined to think that Chimaev is going to go up in weight with Pereira vacating, and that Yuri or who's he fighting? Yuri, what's his name?
Oldberg.
Oberg. Yeah, that's gonna be a good fight. But I kind of think Chimaev
But the
would
positive is
would
Chimaev could cut to middle one last time, fight at the White House,
yeah,
then call out the whoever won that, because it's only going to be what, like,
a couple of months maybe.
yeah, months after that. So, and you know, Yuri is a psycho. He'll fight at the back end of the year,
Hmm.
no matter how the fight
Yeah,
goes. If Ulberg wins it, and if Yuri wins it, if Ulberg wins it, that might be harder to convince that man to, okay, your first title defense is Hamzat
yeah.
Chimaev. Have a good time. But money wise, if
Hey,
they do it in Dubai, the back half of the year, Ulberg can't say no,
how
right?
about this
So
for a prelim fight? Lonnie Kavanaugh versus Manel Kape. That would be interesting
that would be interesting.
because Kape got
That would
left
be
out.
very interesting.
That would be an
Yeah, that
interesting
would be very
prelim.
interesting.
Um,
Yeah.
let's see, Piotr
You're fleshing out
Jan.
this whole thing right now.
Piotr Jan against. Well, Umar has said that he would rather have Dwalish Willie instead of the title fight. He wants a rematch.
Really?
Yeah, so Dwalish Willie Umar on a prelim. That would be crazy. He might just be saying that because he knows he's about to fight Peter Yan at the uh, at the White House.
Yeah, he might be.
Because who else is going to
He might
fight
be
him
saying that.
unless you're giving Sean O'Malley? I mean, you could give Sean O'Malley that fight. Piotr Yan too.
You could. Yeah.
Um, if Taporia comes back, it's Gaethje Taporia. There's no other fight to make. If Taporia is on there, it's got to be Gaethje. It's got to be for that title, unless you're going to give him Makhachev at welterweight, which is always a possibility. But you're going to have Taporia and
Yeah.
either Makhachev or Gaethje, and then,
I mean, they
gosh,
made it clear that the Makachev camp, it's a big thing waiting. That's why it's not Ian Gary. They're waiting for a big matchup. And if it's a big matchup, it's either top. And if it's not top, what's
Usman.
bigger?
It
I guess Usman, but that's not really bigger than Gary in my opinion.
not
As
now.
a fan of the sport, but in terms of name, I guess.
Yeah, Usman would be a big name, but
Yeah. I
um,
don't know.
I think Chimaev Strickland would be the fight to make for middleweight,
Yeah.
unless Chimaev goes up. But then there's no belt on the line, and why do you go up without a belt on the line?
Hmm.
So Chimaev Strickland is probably the one to make. Imavov should get it, to be honest with you, because he was the one that won.
Correct,
But
but it's not going to be.
Sean Strickland's the bigger name there. He's got the more
And
hype.
you said he was the one that won. What do you mean? Didn't Strickland beat Imavov?
Yeah, Strickland beat Imavov, but remember that little tournament they set up where Kaio was
Oh,
fighting Imavov and
that
Hernandez and
impromptu tournament that
DeRitter.
means nothing.
Yeah, and
But the Hernandez and
Imavov.
Dorito side got canceled, so that got washed anyway.
Right, but that got canceled, but Imavov won his fight, so it should have been
Yeah, but the
Imavov.
tournament got canceled because it did it. Sorry,
I didn't hear him say it got canceled, although I can hear it in the next 2 days. So when
Yeah.
Dana comes out and explains why Strickland's on it and Imavov's not, um, move on from middleweight, go to lightweight. They're not going to have a lightweight title fight on it. That's crazy.
Mm-mm.
Unless he's going to come out and say something like we've already talked to Olberg and Prohaska, and whoever wins this fight will defend.
If somebody gets injured, you can't do that.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So, but
you
then they'll
can't force that.
yeah. But I think the idea of a 15 fight title night is out the window
Oh
because
no, that's
you've
gone.
already got
You might
people
have
lined
3
up.
on there. You might have 3 or 4, and that's if you have Kayla healthy. If you don't have Kayla healthy, you're not gonna have that one on there. You could push. You could do Eileen Perez versus the champ of that one, which is
That's Kale Harrison, ain't it?
no.
Yeah, it is.
She said she would fight. She said she'd be willing to fight. It wasn't Kayla Harrison. She wanted to fight
Tracy
what's her
Cortez.
name? No. She wanted to fight. She's Brazilian, but she's not fully Brazilian. She's
Who?
Brazilian in how she speaks, but she's from like Arizona. And she won the belt off of another Brazilian recently.
You talking about
Her name's
Mackenzie Dern?
evading me. Yes.
Well, Mackenzie
She
Dern
said she'd be
and
willing to
Eileen Perez are not in the same weight class.
Neither is Eileen Perez and Tracy Cortez, but she said she'd want to fight like an interim.
That's true.
I
That's
think
true.
it was Dern,
But
is what was said. because I don't think she wants any parts of Kayla Harrison, is what it sounded like. Unless it was going to be Island Perez versus Nunes for the interim uh, belt or
Yeah,
something
I
like
would say
that.
Mackenzie Dern doesn't
Was
have
the
a fight
talk?
lined up. You'll probably see that title on the line, women's strawweight.
Yeah,
If Zhang Weili goes down, you'll see China America on the White House.
yeah,
If Zhang Weili stays up, she won't fight on the card.
yeah.
Shevchenko really doesn't have a big contender out there.
Opponent.
Maybe
No,
Natalia Silva goes up and gets it.
gross,
Um,
gross fight right there.
and then Kayla Harrison, Nunes. I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Nunes Harrison. Um, I think if you're taking Tom Aspinall coming back, I think with Pereira announcing that he's vacating and moving up, I think it's Pereira versus Aspinall.
Hmm.
And if it's Pereira versus John Jones, that will be one of the funniest slash saddest things
That has happened.
to happen. Yeah. The only thing worse is Conor McGregor coming back and fighting somebody besides Michael Chandler.
I love it.
But I can
You
see it
see,
from
okay,
either
and
one of them.
for
John Jones and
it,
McGregor I feel like their personalities, they would both do that just to dig at the other person.
they'd rub it. They'd
Yeah.
be like Conor McGregor versus Ponzinibbio or
Yeah.
something crazy like that. And then it'd be quite the disappointing night for Chandler. And yes, I could see John Jones,
And to have
pretending like Gunn was a sleeper agent and poked him in the eye on purpose.
and to put not only that, but to put Michael Chandler on the card, not against
Hmm.
Conor McGregor. I could see
That
that
would be even funnier.
because nobody else takes that flag out there like Michael Chandler does.
He
Oh,
does.
and
He does carry.
you have to get his boy who always loses in front of him, Colby Covington. You got to put Colby out there. He's had no bigger
I
fan
guess.
in MMA than Colby Covington, even if it is fake.
Give us Derek Lewis on there too
Love to see it.
to fight
Derek
some
Lewis, Kevin
Brazilian taxi
Holland.
driver, as he says. Yeah, get all of them on the prelims.
Who was it that
Even though
just called
Kevin
Kevin
Holland has a
Holland
fight,
out that we thought was too low for him to call out?
the guy who punched the muscle hamster in the head 52 times after
Yes,
he was knocked
yes.
out.
Put
What's
those
your
two.
Jacoby Allen or
Jacoby Smith. Put
Jacoby
Jacoby
Smith, the
Smith.
the best wrestler in the welterweight division? You said
That, bro,
crazy,
give him Usman.
crazy comment. I
I
wouldn't be
mean,
against it. Look, man, I'm not mad at it. I
Jacoby
think you
Smith.
were sharp on a lot of your picks. I think you were. Jacoby Smith at the White House wouldn't be mad. Wouldn't be mad at it
Nah,
either.
and put him with Kevin Holland because you know Kevin Holland's going to show up. I mean, I think
Hmm.
he's going to get knocked out quick in that fight, but Kevin Holland's going to show up. He's going to fight.
I mean, do you wreck some cards to make it happen? You could technically do that, right? Like,
No, they could.
sorry,
Yeah,
Randy Brown.
yeah.
We're pulling Kevin Holland off of your card and putting him against Jacoby Smith later in the year,
I don't.
just to make sure things are safe.
Here's
But
the thing. I don't think it matters with Kevin Holland. I think he'll sign the card and have it lined up even with another fight. They've had it happen
that's
before.
true.
It's just super rare. But somebody like
Hmm.
Dana White's nickname for him was Big Mouth. But somebody like
Yeah,
him, like who will talk that talk, I think he would definitely fight and have another fight lined up after that, win or lose. And I think
that is true.
he's a name that you could do that with. He's one of the few names you could do that with and say win or lose on the White House card, you are lined up to fight. And the only contention is if you get injured.
1,000%.
You know,
I'm excited, man.
that's the only thing. And then you might have to scramble some, but they're not wanting to scramble on the White House card. They're
No
wanting this thing to go off without a hitch. So that would be my only thing against Kevin Holland is that they would not want to scramble if he did get hurt.
facts.
So
I'm excited for the release of that. Hopefully, we get to get that, like you said, by this weekend.
yeah,
Hopefully, this weekend turns out to be a fantastic fight night. Not fight night. See,
yeah,
it's UFC 326,
yep,
but outside of a couple fights, this seems a little bit light.
yeah,
To be transparent with the viewers,
yeah.
um,
And
I think you'll get some good fights, but yes,
yeah, can I say though that the White House card could be dampened a little bit by some of the fighters they might want to fight who do not want to fight on that card because they're people too and they're political.
Brandon Moreno was
J-
one.
Just and
That made it very
he
clear.
was the first one who said it and was very clear about it, and Dana White will let them have their political opinions. He said,
Yeah,
"You
for
do
sure.
not have to agree with me." So if there is somebody out there who we think is gonna be on it, but they don't agree in certain ways, they may just give that spot up and say, "I don't even wanna be seen there right now." So that's a possibility,
I would believe that
but
he would vet that before he releases the card,
oh, no,
though.
he would.
That is my
Yeah,
hope.
yeah, yeah, no, he's
Yeah,
if you're signing up for this card, you know you're signing up for the White House card, and,
yeah.
but I think there's fighters that you might say, "Oh, yeah,
How do they not make it
they're
on there?
how'd
Yeah,
they not make it on there?" Well, they did not wanna be on that fight card, and
yeah.
they may
And they
not
might
ever
come out and
come
say
out
it. They
and
might
say
not
it.
say it.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
we'll see,
a
and
lot to see, man. A
you'll
lot to
also
see.
get the question a lot about how do you feel about being snubbed from the White House card? You'll get that question
Hmm.
for some people, so,
For the next 3 months.
yeah,
For the next 3 months, you'll hear that on every fight night and every
probably.
one. And like, can you sneak onto the back end of it? Like,
Yeah,
is there any changes that could be made?
yeah.
All of that will happen. The only thing I know that will happen this weekend is that we'll potentially have some good fights.
Mhm,
We'll
mhm.
have a BMF belt on the line.
Yep.
And I could almost guarantee, as a dabbling man, that whoever wins the Oliveira Max Holloway fight will be calling for a lightweight championship bout against, if it's Tapuria,
Yeah, they will.
if he's still there, or against Gaethje, because both of them I'm pretty sure would love to fight Gaethje,
Yeah.
um, for that belt if it could be an undisputed one.
Mhm.
So hopefully you guys get to tune in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the analysis. Hopefully you guys like, subscribe, and share, and you come back for all of these Art of MMA pods that we do. Any closing thoughts, Roger, before I go?
No, I just wanna see it. It's gonna be a good one. A little light, like you were saying, for a numbered card, but the fights are still good. They're just not what we're used to on the numbered card. So, and
A thousand percent.
that could be that they're pulling people, keeping people off of some of these fight cards for later on. So we'll see. Maybe later, the latter half of the year will be
A
much
lot
more
more
loaded.
loaded.
They loaded it for the beginning of Paramount, and they're going to load it for the White House card, and so um, maybe that's why you're seeing a little bit of light stuff. But you're still going to get good fights in this.
A 1000%.
Even the opening
Guys are
fight's going to be a
developing.
great fight, I think. So,
Guys are developing. You're seeing
hmm
guys that we'll probably be talking about for years,
yeah,
and go back and say, wow, this, we've been covering them since they've got off the Contender Series and had their debut. So
hmm
hopefully these things are true. You enjoy it, and we'll see y'all on the next one.
yep.
Peace.
Then